Andrea, if you don't mind keeping it brief, since I think all of council is familiar with this issue, and we've got quite a few people in the audience tonight, so, and I don't think they're here for this item. Can I have a show of hands for who's here for the ferry? Oh, okay.
Oh,
all right. Well,
thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming.
So this is a brief overview tonight. The regulatory framework, which I can skip over, that was discussed in the staff report. I will highlight the consistency with the city goals. And then tonight we do have James Jaber, CEO of PROP, here to answer any council or members of the public their questions. And I believe we also have a oh, there's Michelle from Safe Harbors, who is our operator down at the marina. So fast forwarding, just wanted to highlight the consistency with city goals. This was not in the staff report. And the service that PROP will be offering, which is offering the private charter service to the general public, is consistent with several of our city goals. With respect to the general plan, it's consistent with the guiding principles of creating a diversity of transportation modes and choices. It's also consistent with sustainability and innovation. Mr. Jaber had explained to us that this use of the CPUC permit for private charters is sort of one of the first in the state, so that's exciting for Emeryville. And ferries are respectful towards our past. In terms of general plan goal TG3, multimodal, a transportation system that eliminates the necessity of owning and or driving personal vehicles. Mr. Jaber again has said that one of the goals of PROP, the mission, is to get people out of their cars to create a more sustainable commute. And then with respect to our climate action plan, it's offering a new transit program, and it's helping to enhance transportation demand management conditions. One option that the private charter has over the public ferry is the public ferry, you have to publish schedules, whereas the private charter, if he's seeing that there's a shift in commute, he can modify those runs to San Francisco to accommodate the demand. And so if the council doesn't have any, they have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Are there any clarifying questions?
No.
Okay, I think we are all clear. I would like to open this up to public comment, and then I would like to provide the owner of the company a chance to respond once you hear all the public comment, in case there are any lingering questions. So if you have any comments on this item, please line up. You got 3 minutes each.
Don't start yet. Good evening. My name is Freund. I live near the marina. And since I'm going to be away for the next council meeting, I just want to personally thank Nora, Ruth, and Jack for their years of dedicated service to the city. You've provided insight and displayed great wisdom during that time, and tonight I'm going to give you one more chance to demonstrate that wisdom. So regarding the ferry service, first, I think it's fair to say that the issue has been at best poorly handled and at worst extremely poorly handled. There was a major communications breakdown. Council members were confused about the starting date. The police chief wasn't informed, and no public hearing was held before the service began. So among the first priorities, I think, for the next council, and several candidates are here, is to address this communications gap. Public involvement is vital to our city, early public involvement. Okay, enough of the compliments. Despite all this, I support the concept of a private ferry service as currently proposed. Having met with Mr. Jaber and Marina Management, I believe they do want a safe and environmentally friendly service and strongly desire community support. But the city does have a responsibility via their oversight of the marina. So for many of us residents who live near there, in order to sign off, the following issues need to be addressed. One, creating a transit and parking regime to discourage car traffic, including discounted fares for mass transit users some form of permit parking and enforcement of parking hours. Secondly, codifying in the marina agreement with the city the following key points. One, that it shall remain a private ferry service as defined in the staff report. Two, that there shall be no public subsidy of the service. We want to avoid a repeat of what happened with the Emeryville go-around. Three, that the maximum number of passengers be limited to 36 people. And last, that the city manager be notified of any proposed changes. So our recommendation is that this council request the incoming council to make this a priority early in their calendar. And I'm sure you'll make a very wise decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
I'm Freund Critelli. I live at Watergate. I serve on what in common parlance is the Finance Committee. I have 3 points that I'd like to make. The first is considerable time, money, and effort was spent on building up the marina to conserve it. And I would like to really make sure that any transportation service that happens now has adequate impact studies so that it is transparently clear the effect of such a ferry service would have on the marina, on the effort that was made to keep the marina in, to retain the ground and make sure that the level of traffic from a ferry doesn't negatively impact the marina, and so that we can preserve its current condition. So that's one, impact studies on the marina. The second thing is there is going to be a huge sewer project going on at Watergate. Now, there is only one east-west thoroughfare, Powell Street, and I think in order to adequately be able to handle the number of vehicles that are going to be required for the sewer mediation, I think that you have to take that into consideration. What kind of traffic is going to be east-west on Powell when in fact there is a huge sewer project and perhaps even remediation of the ground? So that's my second point. My third point is, because of the level of traffic on Highway 80, I would much rather see City Council pay attention to the level of pollution over the city and traffic emissions on Highway 80 that affects thousands of people every day. I'm looking at 36 people times 6 or 8 or 10 runs. That is merely a drop in the bucket. I think the same effort that you're expending for the ferry should be spent on some level of emissions and interface with Caltrans. Those are my 3 points.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this issue? Oh, sorry, Louise, you do have a card. I have it.
Hi, Louise Angle at 1 Captain Drive here in Emeryville. Points I would like to make is that I'm finding that the Safe Harbors people, as well as James Jaber, are very responsive. They're going to be good neighbors. They've already been proactively meeting with yourself, other residents here, and I think that's an excellent sign to go forward. Secondly is that we could really leverage the business link between the San Francisco waterfront and our businesses. So for example, the ferry dock on the San Francisco side, they pull up right adjacent to the Exploratorium. Think of the opportunity there for our school kids or any people, the tourists, the hotels, wanting to be able to get over to the city quickly. So I think from a business perspective, that should really be looked at a whole lot. And then I think on the parking, which has been raised and is a potential impact, I saw today in a letter forwarded by the city clerk's office that Hines, which is the management company for the towers, which is the closest kind of big structure, indicated that they have potentially excess parking capacity. which is great because if there's an arrangement between, say, Prop and that company, the Emery Go Round goes right down to the marina also, so people could literally park, take that to avoid, again, impacts on Powell. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to comment on this? And at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Jaber up to respond to any comments that you've heard or give your take.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. Thanks for the opportunity to come and speak about the project. We have been operating, as you know, the past year for a large tech company out of Emeryville, in fact, with little to no impact. At least we haven't heard of any problems so far. This proposed service is, and thanks Louise for the accurate depiction of what we're doing, and we appreciate the concerns, and I think that we've accurately addressed or proactively addressed a lot of the concerns that the residents have, and it was nice to see the message come through from 2200 Powell Street. We've also met with 2000 Powell Street, I believe it is, and they have offered some overflow parking as well. We're working with, or we haven't engaged any further with Emery Go Round, and we're also going to be announcing a partnership with Chariot, and encourage people by reducing our fares, to the gentleman's comment, to take public transportation. So we're already accounting for that in our innovative ticketing system, and we are also able to manage communication with people when they sign up for the service. So we have a checkbox that asks if they're driving, riding their bikes, or if they're open to carpooling. So almost every single person has said that they were open to carpooling, but they ride their bikes. Out of the 12 people that we see on a regular basis, there's 2 that drive, and they come on a couple days a week. So by closing down the capacity of our boat and carefully managing how we take reservations, I feel like we're taking steps to respect the concerns of the community and our neighbors, and want to share that information proactively and be available for comments or questions at any time, so that if there is anything that comes up from anyone, residents or staff or council, that we can address those issues. One thing I do want to add is that it's not about people just coming down, it's also about people coming over and shopping at the restaurants or visiting the businesses that might attract people that want to get out of the city for a nice boat ride and come across. So with that, I'll let you go, and thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for the operator of Prop?
Mary Diane, I have a question for the harbor master.
Yes.
And that question is, I think when the Watergate community first got the buzz about the ferries, a lot of us were picturing the great big ferries. And our channel into the Emeryville Marina, would that take one of those big ferries?
Absolutely not. We're not dredged deep enough, and that's where the issue is.
Would you say that again, loud and clear?
Absolutely not. Yeah, the bigger boats, I'm not sure drafts on the bigger boats. Andy may be able to answer that question for us, but
So we're not talking about the big behemoth.
No, we're talking
ferries.
about boats that are smaller than the commercial fishing boats that are currently operating out of Emeryville Marina.
I think that's important to make clear to people.
Yeah. Yep.
How deep is the channel?
The channel is supposed to be maintained at 8 feet. The channel is maintained by Emery Cove, not by Emeryville, but it's kind of it's all a partnership of the basin itself.
The city and Emery Cove.
Yeah.
So that's 8 feet at low tide?
Last time we dredged to 8.5 feet, and we had an over dredge of about 1.5 feet. So there's some areas that go down to about 10 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's taken at low tide?
Mean sea level. Yeah. Tide in the tide book. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, at this time, I'm wondering if I could direct staff to please bring an information item back to council when our new council is seated, just to carry this information forward, just to keep the awareness of this project going, including the concerns expressed by our citizens tonight, and just so everyone's got it fresh on their minds and we know what we're talking about the next time this comes before council. Yes, please.
Sorry, I just want to add that the permit that we have is no different also than the charter fishing boats.
Right.
So it's the same permit. We don't plan on going public in Emeryville, so I want to apologize about the confusion. We do have public license, but that will be used for other areas such as Redwood City. So we want to really control and honor the opportunity here in Emeryville. It's definitely private and will remain private.
Okay.
So.
I have one more question.
Yes.
For James.
Yeah.
Are you aware the Emeryville Marina is being eyed by another operator to offer another ferry service?
We are, and so I've been working with Safe Harbors and Michelle for the last year, and there really isn't room. So we want to also say that we're not going to allow would-be competitors to come in and take this work that we're all doing with the residents and so forth, and sort of create problems with parking and that sort of thing. So we have an exclusive with the marina at this point.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to remind everyone this is an information item, so we're not taking any action on this, but we're just learning more about the new service to Emeryville, and thank you very much. So